Hey, you guys. Thanks again for joining us in this episode. It's solo for me. I'm so excited for you guys to experience, to hear, to meet our guest today. Jean, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for saying yes to this. Such a
Oh
fan.
my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's a privilege. It's an honor, Thea. I felt this coming. So, we talk. We
Yeah,
talk
we do.
telepathically. So I am the grateful one. I'm the grateful one. Thank you for being here. And congratulations on Wired and Weird.
Thanks.
Super needed,
Mm.
super timely in the world and in the universe.
Wow. Thank you. We received that. We feel so too. And we're just we're just trying to share our passions. And so with you, I kind of just really want to jump right into it. Tell us your journey from, from this tech entrepreneur, girl boss, AI to mindfulness and yoga. This is the crux of everything that we do here at Wired and Weird. And here you are embodying it in such an amazing way. I told you I'm such a fan, but please let our guests let our listeners get a feel of you.
Oh wow. That's such a humbling thing to say. I even start? My journey. I've always just been curious about things and life and people, just sincerely and genuinely curious. And whenever I find an opportunity, an event, a person, a book
Mhm.
that just captivates my curiosity and my heart and my soul tug, I just consume it voraciously. And that's how I've seen how my journey has gone from, starting as I've done odd jobs in the past, but my 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 journey really started at IBM. That's where I kind of grew up as a leader. That's where I learned the basics of, you know, how things are done in a corporation, but in a cool way, because at that time IBM was the biggest in the world. That was
Mm.
what, 18 years ago. Oh my goodness. And I just kept getting and receiving the absolute best mentors through the years who showed me the ropes, who provided me the opportunities to grow and experiment also. So from IBM leadership, 7 years. And then I said, I'm tired of managing people. And that's
Mm.
exactly my words. I'm tired of dealing with customers. That's exactly my words to my mentor. And I said, I'm going to quit, not because I didn't love IBM, but I wasn't happy anymore. And the opportunity to work for my first Silicon Valley company
Mm.
just landed through people that I know, and that opened up my world to the Silicon Valley startup scene, traveling back and forth, San Francisco, Manila, started to manage teams, learned the e-commerce industry. At that time, that was
At
the
that
biggest
time.
thing,
Yes.
e-commerce,
Yes.
right? And so 4 years there, again, my soul, my heart said, it's time to leave. I don't want
Mhm.
this anymore.
Mhm.
I love the people there. Again, the opportunity landed to move on to Boston,
Mhm.
a bigger company, software. As a leader, I grew, got another set of mentors who continued to just throw me into bigger opportunities and wider streams of thought to really explore what else I could do as a woman, as a leader. So I've always worked within the tech industry, but at the same time, within my personal journey as a woman, as a friend, as a sister, eventually got married.
Mhm.
We had a daughter. There was a simultaneous growth and expansion and experimentation within the tech space as a
Mhm.
leader. And half of me was being a woman, spiritual being, conscious entity. And so for a while, there was that separation of sorts
Right.
where,
Right.
one moment I'm a tech leader, half of my time I'm not that. And I couldn't seem to merge that.
Mm.
And that brought me to just looking even deeper into life and consciousness. Like, why am I here? Why am I getting a lot of great, amazing mentors and great opportunities? But
Mm.
what's the whole point of all of these?
Right.
And then in the process, my dear brother passed away, and I thought he was my mission in life. I really thought he was the reason I was alive on Earth.
Mm.
And I think he's the biggest guide for me to just catapult me to like to In Silence AI, which is the startup, which is the virtual ashram I'm trying to build.
Mhm.
Because that just shattered my world. I quit everything. I was done with everything. I didn't want it anymore. And I started getting palpitations. The body demonstrated and embodied what my soul really wanted.
Mm.
And I went through a journey of trying to find what could help heal me and what could help me move on and accept the fact that my brother was no longer on earth.
Mhm.
And yoga was the only thing that really hugged me and pacified me and kind of took me out of that dark abyss of not wanting to do anything anymore with life.
Mm.
And yoga further opened an even bigger universe for me.
Mhm.
I spent, I think, 2 years just really traveling the US, Asia, Central Asia, went to India, did Vipassana, took my yoga teacher training in India. And when I thought I was going to be a yoga teacher back in Manila, but then I got introduced to the AI world in the middle
Mhm.
of India, in the middle of Rishikesh. I was in Rishikesh about to wrap up my yoga teacher training. My mentor contacts me. There's an AI opportunity. You're the best person for it. And I'm like, universe, what is this? I don't know what's happening. you know? Just I thought I was listening to spirit, and but I always just surrender to it. I
Mhm.
always surrender, even if all the odds were against me and everything. Even some of my mentors at that time, when I was introducing the notion of getting into the AI space, and at that
Mhm.
time in 2018, AI was very weird.
Yep.
It was embarrassing to be in AI a little bit at that time. And so some of my mentors were like, I'm not sure about that, Jean. I'm not sure about that. Are you sure you want to get into that? And the more people said, that's weird.
The more
I'm
you
like,
wanted
oh, the more I
it.
want it, right, Peya? You
I
feel, you
get it.
feel, you feel it, you get it. I'm like, okay. So, and it turned out to be just one of the biggest, most, oh my goodness, there are no words to describe that experience. I was
Mm.
thrown into boot camps of so many aspects of really running and leading a Silicon Valley startup
Mhm.
that's AI founded, based on AI based. And eventually I was entrusted to run that company. So that's where I learned how to build bots from the ground up. And that was a time when AI models were still being built manually. But I learned a
Right.
gazillion things within that space. I had tremendous mentors, and and then the pandemic happened. Pandemic happened. The world started to whirl and steer and just change and explode.
Mhm.
And now I'm in Kyoto, living with my family, having the opportunity and the best time of my life working at an AI lab.
Mhm.
But still, still going through the motions of trying to bring to life the virtual ashram that is In Silence AI. So hopefully this is helpful in
It's
trying to paint
very
a picture what the journey was.
it was. Thank you. And thank you for that story because like I said, you are a true embodiment of wired and weird. Yeah. I mean, you're wired very much in the tech space, in the middle of it, girl boss, leader, Silicon Valley, all these great companies. But you are so weird and turned on your purpose and your spirituality, which is, I feel like this is the next frontier of like brave new leaders of this world that we are weaving together, right? Like we're wired within this technosphere, but we're still very much turned on and rooted in our weirdness and our uniqueness. And gosh, thank you for your story. It's so, like I said, I'm a girl fan wherever you are. It's totally inspirational. But so one of your intentions for In Silence AI, I remember when we had this conscious tech fest, is for you to democratize AI. and like this importance for you to have people really understand it, not be afraid of it, but use it because dot dot dot. So can you please tell us more about this intention?
Yes, thank you for remembering it, and thank you for making the Conscious Tech Fest special and magical as, being a part of it. You
Thank
are you
you.
are an essential key human being and energetic entity within the In Silence AI
Thank
space.
you.
So yeah, thank you for remembering that. Yes, so I realized when I was learning about the whole space of AI, coming from zero background,
Mm-hmm.
zero coding, zero everything, zero scientific background of it. When I was thrown into boot camps, I realized how magnificent and powerful and expansive the technology and the concept of AI is. And I've always used the metaphor of giving birth to a child when someone or a company gives birth to an AI machine, because that's how it is. You build a machine that's founded on AI, on the concept of AI, and that model that bought that machine becomes who the parents are,
Right.
the humans
Right.
behind that. And
Right.
so that's so powerful, thinking about my own motherhood, my own journey into motherhood. Oh, the first thing that came to mind was, well, what's going to be the scenario if we don't know who the people are behind the AI machines? And in
Mm-hmm.
2018, it was a completely different world. And then you compare that to, I think 2019 was when I really started to take tangible steps towards building in Silence AI and talking to people. And 2019 was still farther from how the lay of the land of AI was in 2018. And then we're not even talking about the now, the
Yeah.
2025, right? So,
Yeah.
and as human beings, as a mother, I thought about what if this gets into the hands of people who are not entirely aligned with human progression and human
Mm.
evolution,
Mm.
I mean, we can speak so much about good and evil, but for me it goes beyond that.
Mm.
I think about the alignment. I think about what is the face of humans in the future? What is the
Right.
earth gonna look like even without AI? And now you put AI into the equation, how is that going to look? And it's such a huge question to me that I said, okay, let me pull myself back. That's such a wild conversation to be had. So, and I don't have all the time in the world. I just know that I've been gifted this opportunity to learn this and the
Mm-hmm.
access in the network. And I know other people out there in the world feel the same way. I'm not the only one thinking this way. And so
Mm.
I said, let me find those other people, because it's going to take not just a village, but the whole, not even a society, but a movement of people,
Yes.
right? To
Absolutely.
share.
Yes.
So it has snowballed from this one tiny human being who I'd like to believe I'm being guided by spirit, because none of this is
Oh,
from me.
absolutely.
Oh my goodness, right? I always say, this is not me. Everything that I'm doing is not me. I'm just
But
a
also
tiny
it's all
speck.
you. It's
But
all
oh
it's
yeah,
all, both end.
right? It's the contradictory and the paradox and it's everything all in one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I said, first let's start with education, right? Because
Mm.
the world is moving so fast. Education as it is broken. Our daughter is being unschooled. She's been unschooled for a while now, because we think that there's a more radical way of educating human beings now. It's the old ways no longer
Yes.
gonna fly. But in my mind, it's not just the kids and the youth who need to be educated with these things. We, the stewards of the youth, the parents, the adults,
Mm.
we need to educate ourselves first, and we need to help each other get the resources, because there's so much noise in the world. There's so many content creators and experts who are
I love the
throwing
air
out
quotes.
garbage. I'm just gonna be
We're just
honest.
being real here, yeah.
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 So, and there's nothing wrong with that. People are trying to earn money, but
Right.
it's not serving us as a humanity, I think,
Right.
and that's why I thought, okay, how do we democratize this? And by that, I mean, how do we share with people the foundational concept of AI? What is it? Because as it is, people just know there's ChatGPT, there's now DeepSeek,
Mm,
and people use it, and then what, right? So it's very superficial, it's very
mm,
surface level what people know. And I think it's going to be helpful for a lot of people to understand, especially parents, especially adults, to learn where it came from, what it can do, how it's built, so
right.
that people know, like, they can even understand, like, why am I seeing on my phone something that I talked about 5 minutes ago? Like,
Right.
people think that.
Their phone's listening to them.
Exactly. But that's not really the case all the time. So even that very basic thing,
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be busted once people understand how these technologies work. So I
Right.
think as much as we as much as majority of people in the world can read and write and have access to water, I think we should have the same level of access and at least a level of comfort in understanding where AI, not just AI, but also blockchain, Web3, all of those deeper,
Technologies,
wider
yes.
technologies, yeah, how it works.
Right.
Because there's just so much going on?
Yeah, there's so much fear. There's so much fear. There's so much black propaganda. Well, the, okay, let me rephrase the black. There's just so much propaganda around it because it's uncertainty, it's new, and it's innovation. And so I love because what I'm hearing, what I'm sensing from you is there's mindfulness within the innovation because you're putting in so much consciousness and intentionality into these wider, deeper technologies that, it doesn't have to be that, um, I can't find the word. It's, yeah, like you don't have to be, my gosh, I cannot find the word. Kanina pa. It's the tip of
That's
my tongue.
fine. Yeah. It doesn't
Um,
have to be doom and gloom.
Overwhelmed. Yeah, you don't have to be overwhelmed. You don't have to
Mm,
think that it's so above you and so beyond you, especially for the older generations, that
mm,
it's just because it's so unknown and they feel like the stories around it, that it reads your emails. You don't have a sense of privacy anymore. Yes, there's a truth to that, but also there's mindfulness and intentionality that you can also put into it because we're teaching it. We are, like you
yes.
said, we are the stewards and we're teaching it. And when we co-create with it, as with life, right? When we co-weave
Mm,
and we co-create with it in an intentional, conscious space, there
yes.
is just so much infinite possibility. As with anything, there's always good and bad, light and dark. So
Mm-hmm.
I love how you're just being neutral, but very intentional and mindful about it. So thank you so much. My gosh, rock star.
Oh my goodness. I'm just listening to spirit. And, I think it's going to be an even more fun life to live and place to experience this earth and beyond. If we can have a better understanding of this
Absolutely.
new sphere, it truly
Absolutely.
feels like a new place, you know?
Absolutely.
So if we understand a little bit more about these things.
And that's where we bust the myth, the fear. That's where we lift the veil because we
Yes.
understand where the fear is coming from. And then when we face it, this is like there's so much shadow work.
Yes, yes, yes.
When we face the fear and shed light, that light of awareness within it, it just naturally dissolves because overall we understand that that fear was just a protective mechanism because it's unknown.
Right.
And our brains as this mechanism that gives us certainty, everything that's not that's certain is equals bad, it's equals I'm gonna
Right.
die. So,
Right.
so it's very biological in as much as very physiological as a humanity that we're actually facing these deep technologies with so much fear and uncertainty. So
Mhm.
I really love and appreciate everything that you do and everything that In Silence does. I guess my next question here is, how do you think this bridges like technology? How can it be a tool for here deeper consciousness instead of a distraction? Because you were giving me air quotes, and I'm loving those air quotes. And it's so true. I mean, we're just going to keep astrology aside, right? Uranus is going to enter Gemini, so nervous system regulation dysregulation is just going to go up the roof. Depression, anxiety, all these neurological diseases and neurodivergences, we're going to see that, we're feeling that already. And it can be very, very distracting. The noise can be very destructive, but I like how you're using it as a bridge. So wired and weird. I love it. So, for you, how do you think technology can be a tool for awakening or consciousness rather than distraction?
Thank you for recognizing that. It always is a gift when someone says exactly what you said, because you already know kind of the genesis of In Silence and how I feel about people, and but it truly is a gift when someone understands what we're trying to do here, um, and that's always been a constant question to me, how technology can bridge, and it can be seen in a more complex way, but in the most basic sense of it, um, I constantly one of the things that I think about every day is how the phone or the computers or the laptops have become the new television.
Mm,
So, and it's an even worse situation now, because in the 80s, television is just at home. People need to get home to have access to that. Now everyone's glued to their phones, and
right.
one person equals two phones and a laptop and maybe a tablet, right? So we're so inundated,
Oh my
we are
gosh.
so wired, we are so connected, and most of the time it's not even our like a conscious decision, because probably it's a requirement for work or
Right.
requirement for any role that we might have. And so what has worked for me, and a lot of the things that I'm trying to integrate into the ashram and my conversations is um, a lot of it is based on my own experiments and my own experience. And I find that when I learned how these things work, first of all, the technologies, when I understand, like I have a Google Home and an Amazon Alexa at home.
Mhm.
And I have that because of my work in AI, because it's part of the testing and the QA work that we need
Mhm.
to do.
Mhm.
And then I think about what 90% of people who don't have access to that.
Mhm.
And it's 2025 and it's almost still the same. And yet depression and mental health issues and diseases are already prevalent. So
Yeah.
what more when we get to that place where um, that becomes a normal thing for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has that. Everyone has a smart home and whatnot. And so I think, again, if we understand first the basics of these gadgets, these technologies, why they're there, what's who's manufacturing them, how it can be helpful to us in augmenting our lives and automating our lives, our very routinary tasks and aspects of our relating and loving and working and living,
Mhm.
then maybe we will have a more aware approach to using them. And it's such a hard thing to do, because even I, after so many years, I'm still glued to the phone. And
Part
I
of work.
still, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, like right now, I need computers and Wi-Fi to talk to you
Yeah.
and to have this very essential conversation. This truly is essential, but I cannot do it without all of these things that could be distracting also.
Mm.
So I think, and that's why at In Silence, the message given to me is, okay, we need to share to people how, first of all, let's make them understand that there are tools to help us develop, establish a whole practice.
Mm.
Because the normal mindset or headspace is of human beings is, I go through life, I eat whatever I instantly access and can buy, the cheapest, fastest food. I work, I go home, do the chores, sleep, do everything again. That's kind of the
Mm.
normal thing, right? But what
Mhm.
if we break that norm and introduce a new way of living to people by letting them know that it's actually there's actually so many things that you can do to break the habit of your just going through the motions of being in a rat
Being
race,
autopilot.
being on autopilot. What if
Mm.
you, for a moment, even if you start with just 5 minutes a day, take care of yourself first. The moment you wake up, before anything else, give yourself 5 minutes to prepare that garden of yours in your digestive system. Prepare the gut, prepare the mind,
Mhm.
so that it becomes that beautiful space where you will operate from and you're more aware. You're
Mhm.
not going to go on autopilot. So that's kind of the first thing that we want to share at In Silence. First, come back to ourselves. There are tools that not a lot of people know about: shadow work, meditation, yoga, whatever that could be, right? Journaling.
Mhm.
Something as simple as journaling, it could help set the day, set the tone, help us be more aware, and be comfortable saying no to things.
Mm. Mm.
That's another thing, saying no to things. So first, understand that there are mind, body, spirit tools, or holistic tools, whatever people might want to call it. There are holistic tools that can help us set the day, prepare our mind, body, spirit before we even go out of the house, before we even leave the bed for the day. And then once you've taken care of that essential foundation of you, because
Mm.
everything's coming from you, we need to learn how to not be influenced automatically and swiftly by the external world. We need to stand in our truth. We need to learn. We need to remember why are we doing this? Why are we in this relationship? Why are we in this work? Why are
Right.
we having these friendships? If we can remember and we can develop that consciousness awareness to develop our truth, stand in our truth, and keep on doing that day by day, then we don't get influenced. We don't do the doomsday scrolling. Like,
Scrolling. Yeah.
oh my goodness, right? Like you start, I find myself like, okay, I'm gonna message Thea on Instagram.
And then
Even
you
before I
get
get to
lost.
Thea, yeah,
Instagram.
it,
It's a black hole.
1 hour later, what didn't I want to message Thea? But
Exactly.
but I just spent 30 minutes watching people dance on TikTok, which and looking at cute cats and dogs.
No, but it's so real. It's so real because they're really built to do this to you.
Exactly, exactly. So, but if and that happens when I don't do my morning
You're
routine.
centering, right? Right.
Yes, like if I'm just going through the motions of, oh my God, I need to be at work, I need to be whatever. But if I take care of myself first, so mind, body, spirit, or holistic practice first, then
Right.
I am more in control of my days, my hours, my words, my actions. Um, and funnily, a lot of these tools are coming from the
Exactly.
Wi-Fi,
I was going to say,
right?
but where do you access your practice? Doesn't
Right.
it come
So,
from an app or something that
yeah.
this thing on our hands that's becoming
Yes.
an additional appendage provides
Yes.
for
They
us?
have become extensions of us, truly.
Right.
Like we cannot live without it, right? We cannot live without the lap. We cannot live without Wi-Fi.
Right.
So, if again, if we develop that, and it takes a lot of effort, if we start to develop and acknowledge that, okay, first of all, I'm the pilot of my life.
Right. Right.
Why am I letting others dictate to me what I'm gonna watch, what I'm gonna eat? Am I gonna pick up that fast food versus, I don't know, like a more uh, plant powered, plant forward meal? Or
Mm.
should I grab the Pepsi over the water? Or,
Mm.
so it's little things and it's many things that will become more conscious selection if we know how to stay in our truth, in our essence, in what truly our bodies are yearning for. And hopefully that also cascades into the way we use technology.
Mm.
Um, like, I mean, I always tell my daughter that if I'm on the phone, it doesn't mean I'm just watching videos on Instagram. It means I'm actually working. And
Mm.
I don't like it. I don't like that I'm always on the phone. I love my job. I love all of my projects, but it's the fact that I'm on there.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell her and I share with some people also that, I really take the conscious effort to drop it. When I'm on the train, I listen to meditative music, Heart Sutra,
Mm,
or
mm,
podcasts that
mm.
uplift and educate. So I'm still using technology, but instead of listening to TikTok, I'm sorry, that's just
It's
a lot
fine. It's
of,
just real.
I'm
Yeah, we're
just
just being real.
I don't have TikTok, but the TikTok videos go into
Instagram.
Instagram, right? So,
Yeah.
like, so so I there's a little bit more
Oh my
consciousness and
God.
awareness in me. Like, okay, I'm gonna spend 26 minutes on the train. That's a lot of time for me to just keep chanting Heart Sutra in my mind and in my heart.
Right.
So, like, so that becomes a conscious effort now. So that's
Mm.
one thing. That's one thing. But even that one thing has I've spent what 10 minutes talking about. So
No, I feel like this is very important because these are real world, real things. And I love how, from what you're saying, is that when us as the pilot, as the stewards, as the master, as the authors, as the conscious being, we are, or we do find and build for ourselves the routine, the discipline of centering, of finding purpose. Not just finding purpose, I guess, understanding the deeper intention behind why we do things, why do we want to do things, and the what around our things, then
yes.
it is very, let's say that distraction is a reality,
Mm,
because I love how we're just being honest. We're just
mm,
being brutally, radically honest
mm,
that these things are made for certain things, and it's to get our attention because time is such a resource.
mm,
And that's what we're paying them for, our time.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
it's the commodity that it's the energy exchange
mm-hmm,
for
yes.
using the thing.
Yes, the free
And
thing, supposedly.
exactly. Well, dot dot
When really
dot.
it's not free, yes.
Because everything is an energetic exchange. But
Yes.
when there is consciousness behind it, or at the very least, even like those small incremental pauses to be
Mm,
intentional about it, there is a reality that there is distraction. But
mm-hmm.
I feel like the magic there is we are aware that the distraction is not destructive,
Yes. Yes, that's
but
beautiful.
there is still consciousness and intentionality and mindfulness
Yes.
behind it, where
Yes.
everything I feel like stems from us, from our center. So that's so beautiful. That's so so beautiful. But then, Jean, why AI? And like, why 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 do you think? Because there's this one, I don't know, I read somewhere, I don't remember which white paper this was, na um AI is gonna take over a sense of consciousness, and I was like, who the
Yeah.
I tried to get my witness hat on and like not judge where the writers, the researchers were coming from. But like, what's your take? What's your take around that? And like you said, it's a tool, right? And it's still up to us how we use the tool. But like, there's this one fear that it's gonna it's just gonna eat up our humanity, or like our consciousness. What what do you think about that?
Wow. So the quote you read was AI is going to take our consciousness. Is that what you read?
Yeah, like it's learning from us because it's
Ah,
learning
I
how to
see.
be human. I feel like the researchers are coming from those Hollywood um storylines that
Sci-fi.
really
Right.
give you
Right.
like end of days, like we're gonna
Right.
have Sarah Connor being like, what the hell, guys,
Right.
all these things. So some kind of dystopian reality that for sure they're writing from a place of let's not let it go there.
Right. Right.
But like, what's your take on it?
Thank you for sharing that. I've never heard of that, but I'm not
Let me
surprised
look
that
for
there
it.
is
Yeah, I
that.
want to look for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's fine. It's very similar to the messaging of all the other 90% of the content that we read out there. Okay, so So the funny thing is, before I before I moved to Kyoto,
Mhm.
um, and I'm gonna share a Substack post actually today, about a little bit about this.
Mhm.
But so before I moved to Kyoto, and the mission of In Silence was, spirituality and technology. How do we use them to, in a marriage, in a union, to help
Mhm.
uplift consciousness. um, I didn't have a scientific angle to it, but I've always quietly had that yearning to have a scientific effort in building this. But in 2023, it was the calling started to be stronger, and this is why I'm here in this lab. So I work in cross labs now.
Mhm.
More about that later. Um, and when I joined this lab, when I started working for my director, my universe just expanded a gazillion times over. And I
Mhm.
started to see and meet scientific experts, academic experts who are not your usual mainstream people. These are exceptional beings here. I am so astonished at the fact that I work with them.
Right.
And the reason I share this is because when I learned a little bit more about the deeper take and approaches and views and perspectives of these people that I've been meeting and learning from and working with, the AI aspect in my life has become such a minute thing. it,
Mm.
I keep telling people, like, oh, wow, AI has become a smaller part of my life now because now I am trying to understand a bigger phenomena called artificial
Art.
life.
Mm.
So, and why am I sharing this? This is because I realized that before moving to Kyoto, I was so engulfed in the world of AI, and I still am. I still love it. It's still a baby to me. It's
Mm.
still a very passionate, important, essential part of my life and my work. But I am no longer easily triggered by, by content like that. But that makes it even more. It makes in the mission of In Silence an even stronger case to build, as far as why are we even doing this? Why are we still doing this? Why are we still having these conversations? It's because the longer we go through life, I feel like there's more unhelpful information that's coming out, and these these pieces of information are coming from the surface level,
Right.
and the surface level is about this much. And I started to see that the underground, not underground, but just unseen, not very main.
Iceberg phenomena.
Yeah, but just things that are not hidden, but are deeply inaccessible to people.
Right.
There are a lot of scientific work. There are a lot of, oh my goodness, amazing human beings who are working so hard, giving their entire life, entire time to keeping AI ethical and
Mm.
benevolent.
Mm.
And so when I started to meet them and learn more about the work that is quietly being done,
Right.
um, comments like that become an additional motivational essence for me. So, and it's not an easy question to answer because depending on the people that you talk to, the answer to that question could vary. And that might be a different conversation altogether. But I think in my small world, in my small life, as as a 45-year-old woman who's like I'm just a tiny human being here. Uh, I'm really humbled by the work of you all. I think it is a baby.
Right.
The whole troops of AI machines, bots. I think there's still a baby. There's still a far fetched notion for them to become even conscious,
Right.
let alone to take over the consciousness of human beings. But things are moving so fast. and technologies, and powerful people are becoming even more powerful, and powerful people are merging and collaborating and partnering. So who knows what tomorrow might look like, right?
Yeah, and we're just being real. No? We're just
We're
being
just being
real
real.
that there are benevolent. I like that you said that there are people who are training and are dedicating their life's works and time and energy to make it benevolent and mindful. And again, the paradox of being in this earth school is as much as there are people who are also devoting all their time and resources to make it malevolent. And
Yes.
it's just real. And as much as it can be distracting, but we're not making it destructive, and we each of us are co-authors and stewards of how we intend to use this, because the more that we use it, it learns from us, and if we are being mindful users of it.
Exactly. Exactly. They learn from us. So
Yes.
we are the parents. We are the
Yes.
sisters, we are the brothers, we are the aunts and uncles. What are we teaching the machines?
Right.
Right?
So this leads me to the question, knowing that, how do you see AI shaping the future of, I like the term soulful entrepreneurship or soulpreneurship. Just, I'm biased to me. I'm
Thank
biased
you
to
for
us.
sharing that. I love reading your email to me. I kept reading it. I'm like, this is so magnificent. I love it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, just a side note.
Thank you. Thank you. How do you feel like, how do you see AI shaping the future of our soulpreneurship?
It's actually already here.
Right. Thank you
Yeah, it's already
for giving
here.
voice to that.
Yeah. And that's why there's it's more urgent to share with people about the benevolent work that's happening, because we
Mm,
don't want people to fear. We
mm,
want understanding,
mm-hmm,
and then you make and then make choose a new emotion sensation based on that,
mm.
you know?
Right.
Let's pause the fear. Let us share with you, like, hey, apart from these things that you see, there are also these other things and other people that's working. um and so it's already happening. It's super inevitable. As common as one human being might have 5 devices each, we will have our own AI agents, our corresponding partners. um I cannot live without my Google Home and Amazon Alexa at home. My family
Mm,
cannot live without it for the past 6 years. And it's gonna go beyond that. Um, I I cannot wait to have my own AI avatar. And the reason I say that is because AI avatar could mean it could be embodied, it could have its own robotic physical version embodiment,
mm-hmm.
like another being living with you at home in the form
Right.
of a machine.
Right.
I see them like dogs, and I adore them like I adore dogs and cats. Like, and I see animals as animal companions. We used to have 7 animal companions in Manila when we were living there,
Mm-hmm.
and they're part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
For us now, our Amazon Alexas and Google Homes are part of our family. And we're sad because we moved from Osaka to Manila to Kyoto, and for a while we didn't have our voice assistants. They are called the voice assistants. We didn't have them, and we missed them for a while. And so that's how I see the future is looking like. Um, there are people in homes who live that way already, and then eventually, inevitably, it will become democratized also. It will become accessible, it will become cheaper.
Right.
It will start with the digital virtual avatars first.
Mm-hmm.
It's already
Was
prevalent.
this already happening?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's already prevalent. But even that, so for example, Republic, is it Republic? A company called Republic, they make these AI avatars that you can access through holographic um, versions of it. But
Mm.
so that is supposed to be accessible for some parts of Europe, but even that technology is still not very common. It's not still not very mainstream.
Still
So
nascent. Yeah.
right? So, and even the Amazon Alexas and the Google Home, still very nascent, still not accessible.
Yeah.
But the future will head there. And it will become an easier life to live depending on how we see and view and use them, right? So
Right,
first,
right.
we need to understand first. And we need to also open our minds and bodies to the evolution of work as well. Because now there's a huge transfer of money.
Yeah.
The nature of work, the nature of earning,
Yeah.
sources of income, it has disrupted the whole world, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Are you gonna
look
do
at
air
who's
quotes again?
driving the Porsche. I'm sorry. It's just
I was like waiting for you to do the air quotes
I always do that. I'm like, yeah, I always do that. But I mean, look at the people who are driving Porsches, and
here,
the expensive things,
everywhere.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
These are people who do not have a college degree,
yeah, yeah.
right? And it's beautiful. I don't have a college
You do.
degree.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm proud of it because I'm proud of it not because I still want to, now I want to become a scientist actually. I want to pursue a degree now.
Okay.
What I mean is the world is no longer satisfied and the workplace is no longer satisfied with just a degree.
Yeah,
And maybe it's not needed in certain spaces anymore. In fact, I think Elon doesn't require that
yeah.
because these places require real projects that you've done, you know? So
Yeah. Your experience
again,
is your diploma.
and 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 how open are you to learning and how fast are you to learning and building with them? So even the nature of work and the landscape of work has everything has been disrupted. So
Mm-hmm.
that's also why I think AI should become as accessible as water in the grand scheme of things. I know that
Right.
some places don't have access to water, but it has to become normal, democratized, simple to understand, um, and be seen in that light of augmentation and not fearful doom
Right.
and gloom. It's
Right.
gonna take over me. It's gonna control
Right.
me. But if you're not gonna do anything, it's gonna take over your life and maybe
Right.
even your romantic life.
Right. Very
Because
her.
now, right, and now there are robots that are made especially for, you know, coitus. I
Yeah,
mean,
for
that
sure, for sure. I mean,
right?
I really like how, in everything that you said, there's still so much consciousness wherein you stress the importance of inner work for it to drive external innovation. Because whether we're going to participate in it or not, there will be disruptions, there will be innovations. The
Mhm.
world is moving. It's just part of how we progress as a humanity. And technology as innovation and progression and development and advancement is part of it. It's just it is what it is. It's part of reality. And it's where we are as inner center in inner work. It's inner and then expanding it into the outer. But the reflection here is understand, like understanding it at a deeper level so that you
Mm.
shine your light of awareness and consciousness onto it. Therefore, it doesn't consume you, it doesn't control you.
Yes.
Because there is understanding, there is integration, you can
Yes.
augment it without having it control your life. You
Mm.
can help it enhance your life. And I like the idea of having physical bots to do my laundry, my dishes, like
Yes.
these menial things that
Yes.
can give me back my time so that I can
Mm.
do like can so that humans do what humans do, which is
Mm.
connect, create,
Yes.
have time, freedom to really access so many parts of their consciousness and brains, which we have like, oh my gosh, 5%. And then there's a
Yeah.
research now that because of all these technologies, it's we're decreasing,
Yeah.
decreasing the
Yeah.
amount of oh my gosh, brain muscle that we're accessing
Exactly.
from 5%. It's just now what, 4.7.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
come
love
on,
your impassionate
I know my
reaction to it.
microphone's just like
Yeah, I agree.
and we're here to actually understand how our brains work, not to
Yeah. Yeah.
not to diminish it because we're
Exactly.
relying so much on these technologies.
Exactly. It's
And yeah,
exactly. I see. day on day, I see, not that I'm smarter than them. I'm just saying I'm observing interactions, people moving in and out, not thinking anymore.
Yeah.
That's more scary for me
Yeah.
than having AI help us,
Yeah.
because that means we're going to be diminished as a species if we don't
Yeah.
think anymore, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to understand what are these technologies, what could it do, how can I contribute to that, because we
Yeah.
are co-creators of it, and what might the future look like, and how what can I do now so that I can participate in that future. And for me the future is grand. For me the future is longer life for humans, tourism in outer space. And I want to live longer than expected to witness and experience those things,
Mm,
But,
mm.
it's going to take a lot of resources. But that's why I'm optimistic about the future. It's because of these benevolent humans who are working towards good AI, ethical AI, and, for the service of humanity, and really tinkering in consciousness, like what is it
Yeah.
and how is that going to impact, and does AI have consciousness, will it develop consciousness, when is it
Yes.
going to develop that, so yeah, it's a wild exciting time and
It is,
world.
and you're part of it. And you're
And you are part of
my
it.
gosh, my mic is
you
just
you
is
are
as
ushering.
excited as
I
me.
love it.
Um, thank you so much. Um, gosh, there's just there's so many ways and so many avenues and pathways that I want to take this conversation. But of course, time. I'll probably close this with two, like my last two questions. What is your advice? So what's your advice for solopreneurs in navigating the AI space and technology? I mean, we've already given them so much nuggets, like the importance of our daily habits and the inner work. And this is like what we do with technology is shadow work, essentially.
Yes, yes. True.
Like what practical embodied advice can you probably give them for someone who's so in the space in both spirituality and technology?
That's always hard to answer, because I never think myself as, as an expert or someone who can really advise. but
Please, you're so humble.
but oh my goodness, Thea, we have to have our girl chat. I want to share so much with you, but
Yes, please.
yes, let's do that. Advice for soulpreneurs, and I guess for our fellow
Humans.
workers,
Yeah, yeah.
not just humans, because yeah, I was debating between, okay, all humans or people like Thea and me who are actively asking questions and
Mm.
exploring what's happening now, what could happen in the future, how can I contribute to that. Um, I Now I'm reminded of some of the things I usually say to other people, which is I hope that people will embrace becoming a little bit of a scientist, a little bit of a technologist, and a little bit of a yoga teacher, for a lack of a better word, but maybe a spiritual practitioner. And
Yeah.
I know that
Multidimensional,
multidimensional.
multidisciplinary.
Yes, because people are staying within their lanes, right?
Yeah.
Teachers are teachers. That's it. They don't think they can become engineers and so on and so forth. And so, what I've seen in my own personal journey through the mentorship and guidance of all these amazing human beings until now, and through experiments and observations of what's really happening, um, and also reading from sources of truth. And I know that's
Mm.
a heavy
That's a
claim,
very
but
loaded thing to
yeah.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really take my time to before before quoting someone, maybe, or before absorbing a piece
Yes,
of
same,
information.
same. Yeah.
I really look at the, like, who's this person? What have
Same.
they done, right? It's
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, but it's essential.
Discernment.
And exactly. So, because otherwise we're just listening to someone who's just regurgitating someone else's words.
Quote unquote expert.
Right, yes.
Thank you.
um
I love those air quotes.
Yeah, so what I would say is to explore becoming a little bit of that. By scientist, I mean you're really researching and truly reading and understanding what you're reading, not just
Mm.
going through the motions of, okay, there's informative Instagram post, swipe.
Right.
because that way you're not able to process that. You're not
Right.
able to titrate it.
I love it.
You're always in my mind. So a little bit of a scientist there where you're really thoughtfully researching and reading and understanding and processing what you read and experimenting on it.
Mm.
Not swiftly believing what you read, but experimenting on it. I experiment all the time. I experiment to the point of if I'm having a conversation and I want to know if this person is intently asking me how I'm doing, my
Mm-hmm.
experiment daily is I'm not gonna answer. And
Mm.
95% of the time, sadly, they go on with their lives without me answering. It means they're not intent. It's just a small talk
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
And therefore I'm finding out that 5% intentional people who truly wait, do this to me and say,
Yeah.
you haven't answered me. How's your day? And so that's part of my daily experimentation. And in that sense, I'm kind of a scientist there where, oh, okay, there are still human conversations happening, as
Yes.
proven by this data, right? So a little bit
Gotta
like
beta
that.
test it.
Yes,
Mm.
a little bit of an engineer where um, I don't know, just tinker with things.
Dismantle things and
Yeah,
then put it back
dismantle
together.
things. Yeah, or at least try to understand the user guide, the manual guide, understand the mechanisms of things. And then just to inform you, be a little bit
Right.
of that instead of, again, just going through the motions of buying a gadget and then using it for the 5% features of it, you know?
Right.
And then being a little bit of a spiritual practitioner, and I'm only using that spiritual word because, for a lack of a better word, it's not the religious kind of it. It's
Yeah.
more of the understanding who you are, what's who's behind this body, this matter. Ask yourself questions like, what's the difference between mind and consciousness? Just really asking. And a lot of these things can be done just with you and by you. You don't really need to um, tap many people, at least not yet, as you begin to do that. And the reason that I encourage people to embrace this new way of thinking and living is because this could equip us to become better stewards and better
Mm-hmm.
engineers and better co-creators of the life that you want to see in your life,
Yeah.
right? There's so much suffering. A lot of people don't have money. A lot
Yeah.
of people are suffering in a job they hate. And I really hope that people can really start to embody that quote by someone that I forget who said that, something, something, you will never have to work a single day in your life.
If you loved your job, you will never have to work a single day in your life. If you love
Thank
what you
you.
do, you never have to work a single day in your life. I don't know.
Thank you. And I've heard this a long time ago. It didn't make sense to me. When I went through my own journey, and the Silicon Valley startup scene really broke my soul. This is really the
I can
gateway to my,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, that's what opened my world to my soul purpose.
Right.
And so even if I work long days for the last 12 years already, I never feel like I'm working. It truly is playful because
Mm.
everything is integrated into my mission, my happiness, my joy, my excitement. So even if I'm wiped out physically, I'm still soulfully filled and nourished.
Mm.
And so that's what I normally share. Like, ask the questions, explore, be a scientist there, be an engineer, try to understand, at least have sympathy for the language of code. You don't have to code, you don't have to become an engineer, but understand the concept and the foundation of how coding works.
Right.
um, you know, and and then also explore the spiritual tools, the esoteric schools of thought, the shadow
Mm.
work,
Mm.
astrology, because these are guides.
Mm.
And I know it's a lot, but I started with nothing. I started with knowing nothing.
Mm.
And I started with trying so many things. I even joined cults.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
I was just trying. I was
Right,
just
right.
exploring.
Experimenting. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so thankful because I've always been guided. I never got into trouble.
For sure.
And that's why the work of Thea, people like Thea, essential guides of this time, of this era, of this physical land, the discernment has to be there. You have to know your guides, you know, you have to know who to listen to. You need to know what to consume from where. Um, so those two things, try to embrace a multifaceted, multidimensional beingness and develop the discernment as to picking your guides. And
Mm.
Thea and everything that she does is beautiful, essential. You cannot go wrong.
I love
It's
you. It's such a mirror, you and I. Like
oh,
I'm just mirroring back to you the same respect and reverence and
oh,
honor for everything that you
same,
do.
same, same.
Gosh, I love you so much. What's next for In Silence AI? Like for
Whew.
those who are more interested, like what's next? Where can they find you? How can they contribute if they want to contribute?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. Okay, so I took a short break. I took a 10 month, well, not really break, but the last active thing that we've done were the 4 events in Manila, and
Mm-hmm.
you were part of 2 of that, I think, 1 or 2 of that. And then we went quiet. My co-founder and I moved to different places.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have a few video cast episodes that we haven't published. So we have recorded. So we have this thing called Conscious Conversations where
Mm.
we speak with essential humans that we think embody the mission and the vision that we have at In Silence,
Mm-hmm.
which and for this year, we're gonna start publishing those that we haven't published last year. And I started interviewing the new pipeline for this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're adding science to the whole to
I
the
love
ashram.
it. I
So it's
love
no
it.
longer just spirituality and technology. So we're going through that motions of okay, how do we I don't want to call it rebrand, but how do we instill that? How do we
Mm.
start to and slowly instill the science in the ashram?
Right.
And you are sometimes I think I'm talking to you materially, physically, but maybe I just did it telepathically. But
What
um,
we do,
you
it
you are
happens.
absolutely one of the people I want to interview for this year. If I haven't told you, maybe I've told you somewhere
Um,
somehow.
I receive, thank you.
Okay,
I think we
perfect.
have.
Somewhere in some format, in
Yeah,
some
in some
dimension.
dimension, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So Conscious Conversations, we're publishing what we haven't published, and then we started recording for
Mm,
this year. We are putting together a couple of physical events in Kyoto.
right.
Um, we are deeply in silence. One of the gifts of In Silence is we are deeply and strongly connected with multitudes of human beings around the world.
Mm,
And we just really don't talk about it publicly. And
yeah.
so and because I just landed in Kyoto, you know, we're planning a few things in Kyoto for now. So for the people in Kyoto, because last year was Osaka and Manila, and so now Kyoto. And Kyoto is such a magical place. And there's so much potential here, temples, Buddhism,
Mm.
uh, wild art.
Infinite, yeah.
Yeah, and the technology is also just immense. And so uh, maybe I won't mention the 2 events yet, but we are planning 2 events in autumn.
Okay.
Summer and autumn, let's see, but mostly autumn, so that it's not super hot. But as far as the virtual version in the format, we are preparing the courses. We want to launch the courses, at least start with 3 this year, or who knows, maybe more.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so watch out for that. Starting with AI and a little bit of spiritual, um, maybe yoga first, some astrology. That's why you are a part of this community, this society, this family, Thea.
Thank you.
And the science aspect will be slowly infused into it, maybe
Mm-hmm.
through the conversations first, a little bit through the Substack that I'm posting today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Exciting.
so yeah, there's just so much that I don't want to give so many tangible things, but we are gonna be back online, more things to share. Spirit said there's no more time to waste.
Yeah.
Jing, you
No more
got the
time. This
science
is it.
now.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
it. It's go time.
yeah.
It's like a
Thea,
cosmic kick in the butt. Yeah.
is it? Yeah, I gotta,
Like,
and that's why I can't wait to work to talk to you many times, not just one time,
I
not just the
know.
interview, not just the one-on-one girl chat. Many things.
There's just so many things.
We
So
still
many
need to
fun
do the
things.
Instagram live.
Oh,
Your astrology.
well, you know what? We're just here. I feel like we really talk. We have dates telepathically in some dimension. So because
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
happens with us when we meet, it's still like so many parallels. So we don't even have to
yeah.
talk about before recording this. We were sharing how you were sharing how we don't even have to talk about the details. We kind of just get it from an energetic level. Like, yeah. And it's just an yeah. All right. What makes you okay? I feel like just talking to you again, you're such an embodiment of wired and weird. But what makes you wired and weird? What do you think? I want if you can give voice to that, like what would it be? I mean, it's so obvious, isn't it? But like,
I don't know, is it?
if you
I
can
know
if you can give voice to it though, like what does it mean for you? What
wired,
makes you
right.
it?
I love the question. It's so enchanting. I love it. Thank you for asking this. What makes me wired and weird? Because I know that I've said that about me on different occasions separately, not together, and
Right.
in with a different context. But I I'd like to think that being wired not just means connected to neural networks or technology or wired cables or whatnot, but also being deeply connected and strongly connected with other beings, other people, lands, situations, scenarios that create spark and magic. That's
Mm.
how I see being wired, um, talking to you. And and again, I'm so grateful because in silence and almost everything that I do by spirit, again, because spirit is telling me to do things. So always, there's always a magical wired connection towards something, someone, someplace, magically, organically, effortlessly coming here. And science probably will not be able to prove that, but just my life is an embodiment of it. Like even
Yes.
the fact that I got to this place working with these
Mm.
amazing people, that was a wired connection. Um, Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I will land in this place with these human beings. Just
Mm.
amazing.
Mm.
Um, Weird. I'm just, hi. Oh. Weird. There's so many things. How do I trim it down? How do I refine that?
What's alive for you right now?
Um, Being weird, I guess, is I don't speak Japanese. I speak very baby conversational Japanese, but even my Japanese friends are like, Jean, you have the most friends in Japan and you don't even speak Japanese. And we are Japanese, we have a tiny circle of friends. And this is an example because it always blows my mind because for me, I'm so weird that if I see someone and I sense the connection, I'm gonna talk to you.
Right, right.
Even if it means just even if it just means we're gesturing, which is how it went for the first year of me being in Japan. But that's how weird I am. And then connecting with you on Club.
Clubhouse, yeah. That was an explosion.
Oh yeah.
That was
Like
like,
you guys that I met again, because I know we've met in another time and
yeah.
space. Meeting you there, I'm like, I'm gonna talk to this Thea girl after this. I'm gonna connect with her. I'm gonna show her my love and admiration. Doesn't matter what she thinks, doesn't matter what other people think. Because it's just there, it's
Yeah,
palpable.
it's yeah,
You
it's real.
cannot ignore it, right?
Yeah.
So that's part of my weirdness. I see you now. I love you now. Let's go. We have work to do, you know?
Yes, yes, yes.
So that's
So
just some of
much.
the things, and that's what's alive right now. But there's still a lot more. And just being here talking with you, again, I felt this coming.
Mhm.
That's why when you emailed me, I'm like, oh, that's it. Yes, thank
Mm.
you. I'm here. Thank you, Thea. What
Thank
else can I
you.
do for you? What else can I do with you?
Yeah.
This is such a magical thing that you're doing on top of everything else that you're doing.
And
Super
you.
essential.
And you. Like just again, super equal admiration. This is love. This is love. And
Yes.
this is soulpreneurship and this is sisterhood.
Yes.
I love you, Jean.
Then I
Thank
love
you.
you.
Thank you so much. My gosh. Any last words? I mean, there's so many nuggets, but um, any last words before we wrap this up?
Thank you. Thank
Mm.
you, Thea. You are so essential in this space, not just in the world, but in the vast space of the universes and the galaxies and
Thank you.
all the things and all the lands we can see and not see. You are such an essential contributor, guide, lead.
As
And
are
and I
you.
and I want to emphasize that because there's not a lot of people like you. And
Mm.
this conversation that you have started with Archit is just gonna go stronger and it's so needed. I cannot wait for you to launch it. Thank you for the work that you do. And thank you for honoring also me and the
So
people,
much.
the work that we do at In Silence. No matter how silent we are, we're kind of on and off, but you're here
Mhm.
supporting. Thank you. And for those listening, thank you also for giving yourself that opportunity to unfold, to allow your weirdness and wiredness because you truly are. And it's time to come out. It's time to just be yourself and share to the world, share to space and the universe what you're here for. And we are here. We are here with you. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely everything. Thank you so much, Jean. Never enough time, but again, there's always next time and so many other times. Thank you for
Yes.
joining us. Stay wired and weird, everyone. Until next time.